Getting the levels? Testing, testing.
This is Ryan with
Here,
J-Man.
my better size now.
There you go.
You know what? I'm sorry. It's actually over here. I forgot. No, I was right the first time. Anyway.
All right, this is Ryan with J-Man. It's with James Balsamo. So how you doing, man?
Hey, everybody, James Balsamo! You know what you told me when you walked up to me? Do you remember we did an interview how many years ago?
I believe about like 8.
8 years ago! And he's still doing it! He's crushing it! High five. All the way. Yeah!
James, you started making films at 19 with Hack Job. What inspired you to pick up a camera and dive into filmmaking so early?
Well, I always wanted to act, and I got tired of being like, you're funny, but you're not what we're looking for. So I learned how to make my own movies. I started learning everything I could under Lloyd Kaufman through Trauma, and I started making my first movie at 19.
You founded Acid Bath Productions. What does that name represent to you creatively and personally?
Well, personally, it's about melting people's face with awesomeness. Because acid, does that, melts people. So, but I do it, of course, metaphorically, not metaphysically. I'm not throwing acid on people's faces when they put in one of my DVDs. And I'm like, I'm melting your face! Because that's a crime. Don't do crime.
Growing up in New York, how did attending conventions and comic book stores shape your filmmaking style and vision?
Well, actually, working in a comic book store changed my life. I was working in a comic book store in Long Island, and there was a copy of The Toxic Avenger Part 2. And somebody said, hey, Troma is in Manhattan. I was living in Long Island. And so I quit the comic book store on Friday, and I was slaving away for Troma on Monday. And look at me now. Thanks, Uncle Lloyd.
With 30 films under your belt, what drives you to keep creating and pushing boundaries in the indie horror?
I love it. You know what I mean? I love weird. I love crazy, silly shenanigans. Like right now, we're in Canada shooting Canadian Centaur. The top half is a Mountie, and the bottom half is a moose. So you know what they say, the moose is loose. Bowinkle! Boo!
Your films often blend horror, comedy, and rock culture. How do you balance these elements to create your own unique style?
Well, I really appreciate that. I love both of those things. I love music and I love horror, and so, my twisted brain pooped out its own version. And here it is, stuff like Snake Church and Werewolf in a Tank.
How do you get so many hot girls to show their boobs?
I hire models through websites, and of course, I'm very respectful, and I'm handsome and charming, so that helps too. Yeah.
Your films are characterized by their over-the-top gore and humor. How do you ensure these elements resonate with your audience?
I mean, you gotta bring it. If you're making horror, it's all about escapism. So you want to see a head break open and a snake monster come through. So I always try to put in stuff that I grew up loving, and filmmaking's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. Like Master of the Flying Guillotine. You ever see that movie? Where they throw the guillotine and it takes the guy's head and he pulls it off. Like I thought that was awesome. So I did a little homage of that in my film Bite School because who doesn't want to see somebody's head get ripped off with a cool Japanese torture device?
How do you approach casting for your film, especially when it comes to finding actors who fit your distinctive style?
Well, I'm like this. Hey, I know you from another movie. Want to be in a movie? You're hired. Or I bump into somebody on the street and I'm like, dude, your hair. That's crazy. Want to be in a movie? You're hired.
What challenges do you face in maintaining your creative vision while working with constraints of indie filmmaking?
Well, you know what? I would say the constraints are really your imagination. You know what I mean? Make it whatever you want. That's what's great about indie. There's no studio saying, you know what, Robot Dracula, I don't know about that. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, Robot Dracula. Yes. Coming soon.
Can you walk us through your typical filmmaking process from concept to final cut?
Sure. So we're usually hanging out and making a joke. And like I'm in Canada and I'm like, oh, I really want to make a centaur monster movie. And I'm like, oh, I love alliterations. We're in Canada, centaur, Canada, Canadian centaur. And that's it. And then we're rolling. And so I flew out Lisa Wilcox. She'll be here on Monday to be in the movie from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn will also be here. Of course, we've already got Darren Ewing and Sean Whalen here. So, yeah, rock and roll.
What's your approach to special effects and practical gore?
I always say a fake head is going to look like a fake head 50 years from now. I mean, I grew up on the 80s movies, so like seeing Tom Savini effects really shaped me to be who I am. And I'm excited to announce Tom Savini's in my new movie, Snake Church. So be sure to check out that.
How do you handle the challenges of low budget filmmaking while still delivering a high impact visual?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. How I would say, it's a burden I enjoy bearing because I think I bring something fun to the table,
Outside of
which is
film,
me. Yeah.
outside of filmmaking, what are you passionate about, and how do these interests influence your work?
Ooh, sleeping. Sleeping's a big interest, and so when you dream, you go out and there's the astral plane and all the thoughts. I was having a drink with Phil Tippett, and I said, "Where?" Same thing. Where do the ideas come from? And he said, "I plucked them from the ethos," and I find that very true. There they are.
Looking back on your career, what achievements are you most proud of?
This interview, the fact that I could do an interview 8 years ago and you find me in another country that I don't live in, that's amazing. And look, you wrote all these nice questions for me. I'm touched. Thank you.
How do you handle criticism and feedback, especially given the niche nature of your films?
I usually kick people in the shins if I see them. They say something stupid. So watch yourself. Internet, coming for you. Say nice things. I work hard.
What advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers looking to break into the industry?
I would say pick up a camera and go out there and do it. I mean, that's how I did it. You know what I mean? I picked up a camera and I wanted to learn more. I went to film school. I didn't, love it, so I started working for Troma, and then I made my own movie. And then look at me now, getting interviewed by the same person from 8 years ago. That's crazy. I love that story.
How do you envision the future of indie horror, and what role do you see yourself in the future with that?
I've been doing this a long time already. It's cool that I have a fan base, and there's like so many amazing filmmakers out there. So I'm just proud that I'm sticking with it, and people keep coming back for more because I got a whole bunch more weird ideas to make movies out of.
If you were on death row, what would your final meal be and why?
Ooh, final meal. I could order everything, right? Because, a lot of states there's a price limit now. They're like, you can't go over $45 or whatever it is. So, but if it was unlimited, it would probably be ribs. I love good ribs, barbecue ribs, baked beans, coleslaw, sweet potato. Great, now I'm hungry. Don't kill me. I'm just hungry.
What's your annoying habit?
Ooh, I don't know. Harassing celebrities to be in my movies. That's probably my best and worst habit.
What was your first major purchase?
Ooh. Uh, Easier first. Well, I bought a nice bed one time. That was like a, you know, big fancy bed. Because, like I said, I love to sleep. So,
What is your biggest fear?
biggest fear, probably the dark. Fear of the dark.
All right, thank you so much for being on my show. 8 years later.
8 years. Nice, dude.